It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
Welcome to Unhinged Crafts with Felix. Here we have applesauce and snack pouch tops that I have been saving. And more of them. There should be 7. There's 8. We don't need that one yet. And then also this. Here's my hope and my dream. To sand this down, get the stuff off, make a design that is Puget Sound themed, vibey. Cut these thingies off of these so they can be flat and so that they can be stuck to these and have something attached here on this round part that screws on that's the shape of these. My baby loves to screw these, to unscrew and screw these. And they are just like a perfect choking hazard. Like they made these baby gullet sized for no good reason. But if it had something bigger attached to the end of it, I think it would be fine. So my thought is to make cardboard, make a tracing of this cardboard that's slightly smaller than the shape of this, then cover it in felt, and then in some way really well attach that to this. Could be sewing, could be hot glue, not sure what that's gonna look like. And then taking this base part and attaching it here so they can be screwed on. I think it's gonna be cute. I bought this at the Scrap Creative Reuse Center for 50 cents, and it obviously did not come with the pieces that go in it, but my baby right now, at least, he's like 14 months old as of filming this, and he just isn't that into take something that's the same size, put it on something else that's the same shape and size of it. Like, we're not like clocking that quite yet in a way that I think we could be excited to spin these regardless. So we'll see. That's what we're doing. We'll see. All right, I made these guys. I just rubbed the paper on this and then cut them out. I tried to do it with like a pencil rubbing, and it did not work. It was better to just push on it. You saw that, I'm sure, in the time lapse. And now I have this book that was falling apart, and I have taped it, and I'm gonna trace this, and I think I might be able to cut these, and then I think I can sand them and paint them. We'll see. Or maybe they'll just get covered in felt. I haven't decided yet, but I do want them to be sturdy-ish, and the board book pages are more sturdy than cardboard. So okay, please ignore the running dishwasher noises. Here is where we are at. This is what is going on. We've got hermit crab, anemones. Nudibranch is who the class voted on. That's a sea slug. I think he's gonna be really cute. He's looking sort of abstract right now because it's gonna be much more three-dimensional with the felt, etc. So this guy's kind of hard to show you. And then sea star, moon snail, my favorite, and the one who started this. Rock crab, my favorite in real life, not necessarily my favorite on this board. And then this is some barnacles and a limpet and a chitin, who has a chitin friend here as well. And some other barnacles and some periwinkle snails. This guy's peeking out just a little bit. Yeah. And then here's what the board book pieces ended up looking like. It was a really small board book, so these guys didn't fit. So I think what I'm gonna do is go to the thrift store and find maybe a churchy board book and cut it up to some bigger sizes. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Big moves being made here. This is how drawn on this is. It's just gotten busier and more obnoxious, and I have decided I'm going to Dremel. Somebody in Instagram DMs was like, do you have a wood burning tool? And it turns out the answer is yes, but also I have a Dremel. I don't own either of these. My mother with ADHD does. We also, somewhere in our home, have that clay that turns into silver because my mom has ADHD. So thank God for that. If you're not familiar with a Dremel, it's not like etching. Like, I don't know what the right word is, but it's just, it's gonna drill a tiny amount into the wood. I'm curious how that's gonna go on this wood board, so I think I'm gonna start on the back just to make sure it's not gonna like chip off pieces and be crazy and make it look really terrible. And then once it's Dremeled, I'm going to paint and then seal it. And then these critters are for sure going to be felt. With felt, it can be more three-dimensional because I think like the anemone thingies like sticking out are gonna be really cute, and you can't really paint that. So most of the anemones that I'm painting will be closed for that reason. The book I destroyed is about Thanksgiving. It specifically had a page where they talk about, it's not jewel corn. It's called candy glass corn, glass candy corn, glass corn, candy glass corn. It's that really, really pretty corn that people I think it's okay. It's not like a slur or anything. They call it Indian corn, but like you shouldn't. And if indigenous folks want to call it that, then like that's completely fine. Or if they say you should call it that, that's fine. But I think we've shifted since we're saying like indigenous more, you know. Anyway, easy for me to rip up. Also, it didn't have like cute art or anything. It had like pictures and then some kind of like, anyway, so that was fine. I felt very comfortable chopping this up. This cover of it, actually, I'm going to use for a busy book. So that's perfect. Multiple options can be used from this Upcycled. I just didn't want to rip up any of the books that our baby already has because there are definitely some that he like hasn't read yet, but he didn't have any that he had like destroyed, and so this one was 99 cents at the thrift store. I ended up using 2 layers total to make these like super beefy, which I think is great. And then again, there's going to be felt on the outside, I think on both sides, and then they're going to be attached to the spinny thing. I just want them to be able to like kind of like throw around. So yeah, they feel really satisfying now because they're super chunky. Oh, here's the other one. I was like, ha ha ha, did I miss some? But now they look really hilarious and strange. Again, I'm not worried about them being able to like fit into this thing because they're just going to twist on top. I just want like the shape to be vaguely similar, but I might use the Dremel to kind of like clean up the edges to make them exactly the same size as the other half of them, just because it'll be easier to trace and put felt on top of them that way. To cut these, I just like traced the shape of the guy and then I used scissors. Not ideal. Not ideal. If they had been more straight lines, I would have tried to use our fancy cardboard cutter, like rotary thingy. But that, it doesn't do like fine detail like this, or at least I'm not confident enough to do fine detail with it. My preference was to have them be like bent up a little bit and me just like tape them and push them back down for me like turning and cutting. Then for them to have like cuts past where they're supposed to go and then have less like physical integrity at those like smaller spots. And those are the kinds of things I feel you make decisions as a crafter when you get there. Oftentimes when I'm doing these like cuckoo bananas projects where it's like not like anything I've ever done before, I'm just like flying by the seat of my pants, I'll have people ask questions like, oh my god, how did you know to do XYZ? And I usually didn't. It's usually that I've made a mistake in the past, or I tried to do something and it didn't work and I was like, damn, guess we'll do it the other way, or guess we'll try to figure out a different way to do it. It's always okay to make mistakes when you're crafting. When you're making art, really, is what we're doing. But I like the word crafting because it feels accessible. So I will be continuing to draw on this, and then I will be dremeling it. I'm so afraid of the dremeling. I've never dremeled. I also my whole life thought it was drummel. I don't know why. Is that a different word? I say I'm so afraid of the dremeling, but once we get to the painting, I'll be even more scared of that. So, yay. Okay, I think it's done. I'm not sure. There's obviously some like nakey spaces, but that's also what it's like. I feel like the rocks are really busy, and then the like sand is typically less busy when I'm at the thing. So, okay, like, yeah, we have chitons, barnacles, These are dead barnacles. These ones are alive because they've got the little mouths. Limpets, periwinkles, closed anemones, another kind of crab, a rock crab, a little sneaky limpet down here. This is gonna be that weird, I don't know if it's algae or like what it is, or if it's sponge technically, but it's this like really pinky. I don't remember what these dots are supposed to be. Oh, these are barnacles. Sorry, these are barnacles that are all gonna be dead. And then this is a clam type guy, and then some seaweed, and then a moon snail. This is just a rock. This is the moon snail shell casing. Sea lemon, starfish, that other kind of starfish that has 6 legs. This is one of those, I call them mermaid bras. I don't even know. They're like a purpley, it's like purple varnish clam, I think is what they're called. This is our nudibranch, I think I learned is how you say it. Nudibranch, not nudibranch. Why would they spell it like branch if it's branch? More, but different kind of seaweed. This is a broken chunks of sand dollar, a live sand dollar, sea anemone, sand dollar again, hermit crab, more broken pieces of sand dollar. Realistically, there's so many like live sand dollar beds. I didn't know how to convey that. And then I was like, you know what? This is actually an artist's interpretation anyway. So if I can leave out the part that's stressful for me to walk over the top of, then I will do that. So I think I'm gonna try to Dremel it. Okay, here's what it looks like cut out with the teeny tiny itty bitty baby Dremel bit that I got, small. And then I tried wood burning just for some drama. This is obviously gonna get painted anyway, so it doesn't matter, but this is a part I tried to go over with the wood burning. And I don't know if you can tell, but it is not nearly as deep as the Dremel. Like, this is not deep enough, which with wood burning, theoretically, like, it's more to do it visually than it is to like cut into the wood, so that makes sense. But yeah, this is, I think what's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna sand it down a little teeny tiny bit before I paint it, but I think it's deep enough that it'll be able to hold up to that, because yeah, they've got these little, it is cheap wood. It was, you know, I mean, for me it was 50 cents. I don't know how much it was originally, but we'll see. Okay, here's what we're working with currently. I am thinking that I can sand it down to get these kind of loose, hairy wood hair pieces off. I'm gonna try it by hand, and then if not, I will do it with the fancy sander, but I'm afraid it'll take away too much of the detail if I do it with the big sander. But I don't know, maybe not, because this is, I mean, it's pretty deep. I don't think any of the places are like shallow enough that it would get rid of them completely, but we shall see. I was just trying to use this brush to dust things up, and I guess it went too fast because he did not look like this before. And now he looks like this. So it was sort of open and there were bristles. So that is a real bummer. Welcome to Felix's Unhinged Craft Corner. Morgan and the baby are hanging out today, and so I am here in my own mess. What you missed that I did not film because I was having an emotional breakdown, not really, but just a little. Is it even really a craft if you haven't had an emotional breakdown? Is the kind of finishing up of these guys. So we have the double layer of the board book, and then they have, this is going to be the bottom color of felt on them that will be matched to their spot in the board. And then this is the board with the felt pieces that they will be matched to for the color. So like this one's going here, right? And then the board also painted and kind of like rubbed in the colors. I wanted to give it kind of like a tie-dye-ish feel in the outline of it. So there are places that are like much darker purple, and then there's kind of like more blue parts, and then kind of more like indigo-y, and then like lighter parts to add some depth. I thought that was kind of fun. I don't know how successful it will be once I've actually like painted and everything is like a color also, or if it'll just kind of be something that's kind of like a little bit in the background. This is how it's looking right now. These haven't been glued down, they're just like shoved in there. I think I'm gonna paint because there's obviously like bright obnoxious wood color underneath them, so I think it might be best if I painted like these white underneath and then like glued the felt on in whatever way I'm going to glue it. But right now I'm about to start on making the top parts of these, which will look like their paper counterparts that are gonna actually look like the creatures that I've made them be like. So that's gonna be the most involved part for the felt, and then obviously the painting of this is gonna be really involved, and I have all day to work on this, and I can't imagine it's gonna get done, but we're gonna see. We'll see. I'm having fun. This is maybe my most involved baby project as of yet. The Bear in the Big Blue House, I'm still working on it, so that one's only like 1 page done, so maybe it'll be even more than that, but we'll see. Okay, this gray is the color that I want to use for like the rock. So that's what'll be the main shape of this fish, but it's actually going to be a starfish. A sea star, some have said. So I've pinned this here, and I'm going to cut out the shape, and then I'm going to cut out the paper of the starfish. And then, you know what? I'll just show you. Step 1, pin the thing on the base color that you want to have. Ta-da! So this looks like this. Really sharp scissors are your friend. You want your scissors to be as sharp as possible. Immediate mistake that I've made. This is not the same size as this anymore. And I was doing it based off of this, which is not super helpful. So now this is like beautifully crisp, goes exactly on top. Not what we want though, because we need it to come over these. So we need it to be as big as this one. So what I'm gonna do instead is pin this little blue one to the gray. This guy, unfortunately, not what we need, too small. Okay, this is what we wanted our little sandwich to look like. So that when it is sewn together, these were taped together, which is why it's all wibbly wobbly now. But when it's together, is that right? No, there we go. There's gonna be this little overhang that's gonna get sewn together by the thread, probably with yarn. I'll probably do a blanket stitch with yarn because I think that's the cutesiest. Still though, this I'll be using to cut out the sea star. So I'm going to use my different scissors, my paper scissors, not fabric scissors, to cut out the sea star because paper dulls your scissors and fabric does not in the same way. Okay, because this guy has so many curved edges, it would be hard to hold and cut at the same time with a pin. I'm going to pin it down and trace it. And because I am tracing, I am going to flip it upside down so that this side of the fabric will be the bottom, so that if I end up with any of the Sharpie marker on it, you won't see it because it'll be underneath. So this side of the fabric will be touching the fish, the rock. I pinned and drew, and we have this. Here she is. She's looking beautiful. I'm going to embroider these little dots, I think. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do, like, algae and stuff on the rock. I don't know. Okay, here's how she looks. She's very cutesy. I had these abalone shell buttons from one of the baby's cardigans. And these are terrible buttons to have on a baby cardigan because they're like, you know, they like can crack and stuff like that. This is not an unsupervised toy. And he, I would say, is much less putting things on his mouth to chew on them. And also I've secured these pretty good, I think. So yeah, if these end up coming off and I need to like put something else here, they'll be fine. But I do not think it's possible for them to be a choking hazard for him, at least while I'm watching. So this is not something I would recommend, buttons or sequins, for folks who are new to crafting and hand sewing. But if you have a significant amount of experience and if you feel comfortable being like, oh, this isn't gonna come off, and also I'll be watching my kiddo as they're using this, then I would say go for it. But don't do it unless you are certain. Okay, the color was shining through a little bit too much with the felt, so I painted these white just so that I can put the felt on top and have the color look fine. And then I painted other white things white. This is not obviously the final of what these are gonna look like, and these I'm gonna like draw. They'll look like a little barnacle family instead of creepy, but yeah, I'm gonna hot glue. I'm scared. Okay, so this is the mechanism we're working with. This situation. Here's the problem. The baby's obviously not gonna do this gently. And so what it needs to be is like able to withstand toddler yanking. I just don't believe us to be there yet. And the problem is that I didn't, like I fixed it with this one, but I didn't glue down the fish in the center here. Although I can't imagine. So now I don't know what to do to make this. Like this is gonna be, that's gonna be a problem, certainly. I could cut a hole. Maybe that's what I'll do. And then hot glue underneath it, and then cover it back up. Mayhaps that solves my issue. Oh, God. It's fine. We're adding texture. I'm gonna let that sit. And I'm gonna eat my pretzels. Here's the current creature tour of the Busy Book. We have barnacles, alive and dead, chitin, limpet, very cute, crab, moon snail. You've seen these two. I think I'm probably most proud of the anemone. I know how to say that. I had this button that was like this weird yarn thread covered button, and I was like, that's perfect for like the little sad closed ones. So I used that. It was just in my weird button pile. And then to make this part, I cut a circle of dark colored fabric and light colored fabric, and then I cut into it, and they were like strips, but like swirl strips basically. And then I cut to make a fringe, and then cut out in between like one fringe spot, and then sewed them together so that it would hopefully not like fray and rip and be weird. I think it's really fun. Yeah, these obviously have not been like attached yet, and then this is the beginnings of the hermit crab, who I think is going to be really cutesy, and then I'll grab the sea slug. Here he is, our little nudibranch. Oh, I gotta Google how to say that again because I've already forgotten. And then I found this really cute little button that I thought could be a sea star. And then these clear buttons. This kind of sea slug that I've chosen has these sort of funky like thingies that come off of it. So I just sort of randomly cut these. And then also there's like an aspect of this sea slug that's like very see-through, transparent. So I grabbed a couple of clear buttons that I think I'm going to get on there. But like here's one sewed on right now. I think it's gonna be cutesy. I am trying to decide right now if my time would be best spent painting this or attaching these or sewing, because sewing I can kind of do like at any time. I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is start painting. That way, that's just, it's harder to like get all this stuff out, you know, while the baby is sleeping, etc., etc. Morgan and the baby are off on a play date right now, which is great. So I am here alone working. Yeah, I think I'm gonna paint. Okay, here's what she's looking like painted. I decided I wasn't really loving, well, okay, I haven't done this yet because I was doing a time lapse and I needed to pull up a picture of this shell so that I could do it correctly. I decided that the purple is not quite giving what I wanted it to. I knew I was gonna have to go over the outline again with paint, but the purple is looking kind of like blue pen to me, and I'm not loving it with all these other colors that are so much darker. I thought maybe the palette was gonna shift a little bit more like girly pop pastel-y, and so the purple would be kind of fun, and I don't like it as much as I thought I would. So now I'm going over in green, and that really works for me. I think that's fun. It's looking pretty cute. I'm excited. Obviously the outline's on like this, like that's so crusty looking. She needs to be fixed. Take a paintbrush, one of the cheap ones, and I cut it so that it would have a really sharp tip because I don't have any small paintbrushes, and it's actually working much better than I thought it would. Okay, the painting is done. It's sealed twice, so it's really shiny and cannot be like scratched off. Feeling pretty good about it. This next part I am the most afraid of, and it is going to be the hot gluing of the guys. This one, I don't remember if I filmed it, but I was having problems with it. I ended up ripping it up and then putting E6000 underneath this, and now it's like very sturdy. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how the baby's gonna play with this. Depending on like the level of roughhousing that could take place, it might just be like chill and fine. That's gonna drive me insane. Sorry, there's a way if you do it like this. Girl. There we go. Good God. It's really easy to put that on upside down though. Yeah, this is the one that was making me nervous, but she's cute. Yeah, I just have these. I'm trying to decide if I want to use one of the pop sockets because those also can like come off. But I think no. I think it's best to just stick to the pouch tops for this. Excited to be done with the paint. That was annoying the whole time. Oh, tour of the guys. This is the hermit crab with some sand dollars, little tiny baby sand dollars that are still alive and undying over here. And then this is how our nudibranch, I should have Googled it before I started filming again, ended up. I think everybody else you guys have seen. But yes, I need the colors. I need of the felt, the backs of them, and their respective applesauce pouch thingies. So I'm very scared, but I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna try to show you what I'm actually doing. This is something that I just made up on the spot as I was trying to figure out how to attach these. There's probably a smarter way to do it. That's not what's happening here. We've got our beautiful little sea slug. I know that I want the orientation of it to be like this, obviously, so that it lines up with the guy. It has this like underlining color. So I'm gonna take a long strip of this. I'm just gonna cut the whole thing, even though I'm not gonna use all of this. I will probably use the little extra pieces later. It doesn't matter, we're not super gonna worry about it. I'm gonna decide what color I want it to attach. I think I'm gonna have this one do blue. Now I do have another green. Blue, green. Am I missing one? Orange. Can't both be orange. This has to be orange over here then. And I don't want two greens next to each other. This is a green. Two blues, two orange, whatever. This one's gonna be green. And it doesn't matter. I'm gonna take it off of its little, and then what I'm gonna do is place it on here, make sure that my hot glue gun is ready to go. I'm gonna place it like here-ish. What I'm trying to do is make sure that I have enough to loop and push through here, and then I'm gonna cut this side and loop and push through. So I'm just kind of like roughly measuring, because this part doesn't need to be beautiful. Whatever. And then I'm going to put some hot glue on this guy and then line my strip up with it so that there are holes on either side for me to glue and fold these into to get them out of the way. I've got my glue. I'm gonna bring this up to this. I am technically using a low temp hot glue gun, which I don't normally recommend, but that's what I have right now to use. Okay, and then I am putting a little dot of glue here on the edge, and then just pushing up my piece of felt. And then I've got this little flap over the top, and I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the inner lip of the lid of the pouch, and then push this in like this with just something that you can shove and fit in there. And then I'm gonna do the same on the other side. This is a little bit to be aesthetic and a little bit to like continue to associate these colors all together. You know, I'm like trying to like get more of the felt on the applesauce cap. And there's gonna be little strings of hot glue, and that's okay. That's just what it's like to work with hot glue. And then we're doing the same thing the other direction. God, I'm a witch. We have it like this, and so now I want to put another strip here. Same thing. Drag it to the feet. And literally the same thing with the other direction. Just making sure that it lines up with the thingy. Same thing, glue up the side. So we've got this with the lip. Dot of glue. We just got a little bit of the hot glue on the end of our pin. So I tried to stick to the felt as it came up. It's not a big deal. We could always just glue this back down, which I think we're gonna have to. I would be more worried about that spot if it wasn't, like it's not gonna be receiving that much attention. If the baby plays with this toy the way I expect him to, which you never know, so maybe it will and maybe I'll have to fix it, that would also be okay. Okay, same situation, glue up the top and then glue over the side. And then this chunk, I'd actually like for this to be bigger, so I'm gonna set this over to the side and cut out just a circle, because the applesauce pouch tops have a little bit of like a dip, and I want this to be as like flush with the bottom of this thing as it can be, so I feel like it's better. So I'm just gonna put a dot of glue here. You see how it's kind of like a bowl, and then I'm just gonna put the felt there. Let that sit for a second. Try to get the hot glue off of my fingers. Okay, and then we've got this guy. Especially for one that's long, it's kind of weird because you're figuring out where it's going to pivot on the board. I don't know. I think it's always gonna have to be that this one goes on first in terms of when the baby's playing with it. Regardless, I want it to be center-ish Like if we put the applesauce thingy up here, it would turn like this, and that would be a problem, right? So we want it to be as close to the middle of the shirt as we can get it. A lot of glue here. Normally what I do is I screw these guys on first, like their guy, but I forgot, but that's okay. Eek. That's why you want to do the screwing on before you do the hot glue, because you don't want to like twist it as it's drying. That's not ideal. Now, I'm going to sort of place this where I want it, just visually. That looks right to me. Okay, and then I'm gonna put a little hot glue there. Oh my god. And then I'm also gonna put it on this guy at the bottom here. So we've really got all our bases covered. And then I'm going to put it down and then press just a little bit. It's a lot of extra glue coming out of that, but I'm comfortable with it. I'd rather it be like secure and then me have to cover up the, well, actually now that I'm thinking about it, if it goes up too high, no, it's fine. Now that that one is sitting and drying, I'm not gonna pick at it because it's gonna wiggle it. I'm gonna try to take this one off. Yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Okay. Okay, so you can see this one here is done drying, and I'm gonna use a couple of pieces of felt to cover this sort of like bulbous edge of it that is just from the hot glue. That way it just can't really be like picked at by a baby or whoever else. I don't really have enough pieces that are the shape that I want for this, so I'm gonna grab a couple, a little strip to do that with, and then put a little glue on the edge of this, and then put a little bit of felt down. That's nice, and then cut about the size I want here. This is, to me, it feels like it's making this more secure. Is it actually, physics-wise? I don't know. At a certain point, that's not my business. I'm just trying my best. So this is so nerve-wracking. Okay. And then, yeah, I've got like this edge over here. So I'm gonna do just the same thing. Yeah. I was cutting towards myself, cutting papaya earlier today. Don't ever do that. Do not do that, baby. It's a terrible idea, but I now have super glue on my finger where the cut is because I'm a dad. Anyway, it's not like deep or anything. It just hurts so bad. It's pissing me off. This is, we'll just do, don't make that noise, please. Okay. Yay. Hooray. Okay, so that's now pretty on there, you know? Okay, I'm just gonna do that like 4 more times now with confidence. Yeah. It's looking cutesy and also insane. But I'm excited. Oh, three more times. Only 3 more times. We already have this guy. Okay, well, great, good, yeah. Okay, here's the big reveal. Ta-da. It's done. They spin. You gotta kind of do them in a specific order to have them come off and not smack into each other. I also think it's very possible that he's gonna like it better without the things in it, because right now he loves to stick his finger, his like little tiny fingers exactly the size of these. The only one that's kind of like destined for disaster is this one. Oh, it's this way. There's not really, like, it's brushing up against the anemone, and that's not ideal, but I think it's ultimately fine. And then the anemone, sorry, now I'm trying to like think with my hands backwards. And then this guy, here we go. Oh God, okay. Yay. It's done. I did it. I'm excited. Hooray. My glasses are so dirty. You cannot begin to imagine. Hello, it's Felix from A Week and Some Change Later. The baby played with this at the cabin. It went really well. Now that he has spent some time with it, I think I am more aware of the pressure and like the tension points of it. If I was going to start this project over, I think I would focus more on this connection here from like this to this, because these are like so sturdy with the wood and the glue. Like those are fine. I think I might hot glue down the felt to the cardboard and then do the blanket stitch around the edges. And then also in some way sew part of this felt strip to the outer part of this, I think. Again, like it's not, do you hear it? It's not heinous. It's probably gonna need to get glued again for some of these, because that's like the part that's getting twisted and turned. Yeah, you can hear it. Again, isn't what I thought was going to be the issue with these. And then the way that he plays with it, he's actually, because he's not quite able to like spin them on in the way that they're supposed to be yet, which makes sense. I figured this would hopefully be a toy that would age with him. He mostly puts them on, and then because they kind of like lock, they don't quite lock into the grooves, but they like still sit on it when you unspin them. It's just like a fancy like spinner toy, which is great. And then they'll like fall off and he'll put them on different ones and be like, oh, does that go there? Can that go there? And like, it can, it doesn't matter. He honestly gets most frustrated when he like spins it and it's like locked on there the way that it's supposed to be. And that's also when it's most at risk of breaking, because if you keep trying to spin it past that, then that connection between the back of the sea creature and the top of the pouch is like what has pressure that's being put on it. I think it's a successful toy. It was great at the cabin, where he did not get to go to low tide because he would have tried to eat all the little critters, but he did get to go to high tide and try to eat the seaweed, which was fun. As you probably noticed, I did end up putting some like sand dollar beds in here because there are so many of them. The Salish Sea in the area where we're at. If this is the kind of project you're interested in and like to see, you are in luck. I will be doing a busy book next for my niece that I'm really excited about. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be as upcycled as I can possibly make it, with the outside of the book from the part that you guys saw earlier. To me, this was really an upcycle project at its bones. And so what we were able to use, this board from Scrap PDX, which is great. You should follow them on social media. They also have an online store, I believe. Applesauce and like baby food pouch tops. Those worked really well for this weird spinny thing. I think if you wanted to do a project with these pouch tops in a less unhinged way, in a little bit easier way, you could honestly take cardboard, like a piece of cardboard, cut off the ends of the like part that the pouch goes into, obviously stick it through the cardboard, glue a piece of cardboard on the back and like glue it in, and then just like hot glue or tape something cardboard to the top of it to make it a little bit easier for their hand. Because again, like you set it on top, and it like spins. So it's good, I would say, for kiddos of many, many ages, as long as their primary goal is not to take whatever they are holding and shove it in their mouth, which is an extended period of time I found with the young people. The only time he did that was with this one with a mouthful of Cheerios. And so there's a little bit of Cheerio ground into one of the barnacles now, which is what I expected, and I'm not worried about it. The board book pieces, each of these are made with 2 pieces of baby board book. One of the books was ones that he already had that was kind of destroyed and chewed on, and then the other was one that I thrifted for 99 cents. And then obviously a lot of felt, a lot of weird old upcycled buttons, which is great. The felt I didn't have to purchase because I'm an unhinged cuckoo bananas person and I have so much felt in my life, and it's one of my favorite materials to work with. The acrylic paints I also already had. So I cannot, like, in good conscience tell you that I paid 99 cents for the board book plus 50 cents for this board plus the like $2 each or whatever for these pouches. And that was like the final cost of this project, because it wasn't. This is a lot of different colors of felt. But if you wanted to do something like this, again, you could just use cardboard if you have fun colored old fabric, and again, you don't even need to. You could just you could color it with Sharpie markers, as long as the kiddo is not going to be chewing on it constantly. Yay Salish sea life, tide pool area, cutesy cool fun stuff. Hooray. Thank you for being here. And oh god, I am not typically the main person that you see on this channel. It's usually my beautiful wife Morgan, who's very funny and cool, and she is also the one who primarily does the editing. I did edit this video because I was the one who did all of this nonsense. We are into different kinds of content, and so we make different kinds of content. So but it all gets posted here on at CouplaGoofs. So if this is the kind of thing you like to see, let me know. I'm excited to keep doing fun little weird crafty projects like this, particularly sort of like upcycling sustainability content. If you have an interest in me doing a step-by-step of like really cheapy, not as involved versions of this, that's absolutely something that I could do. You can find us on most social medias. We're not on Twitter because of it's evil. We are on Instagram. Instagram has like daily sort of updates typically from us as to what we're up to on stories, and we have like short form videos, which is the same things that eventually get posted on here, but they're posted on Instagram more quickly. We're also on TikTok still, unfortunately, even though it's such a bad, restful, bad platform. You can find us on Patreon, where we post a video every couple of weeks. It's just like a long form us talking for between like 20 and 40 minutes about things that are going on in our lives. Sometimes we have a little bit of fun extra content on there of like unedited, just us yapping. It's a lot of yapping content. Thank you for being here. So sorry the world is the way that it is. But there are lots of good, wonderful, lovely things, such as nudibranchs and the Salish Sea and weird projects to be done. So, you know, and here's the bloopers. Here they are. Mwah. I'm gonna cut all that out. Oh, my bad. And they're gonna be, because felt gives you more, 3 more to here. I cannot, why does my brain think I need to go backwards? Oh, sorry, I took a paintbrush. Beauty, YouTube. I took a, you really can't tell. E6000ing, E6, rip. This is the hermit crab with some, what are they called? With some, where are they? Hello. Oh, are they down here? Applesauce pouch tops, yes. Found them. No one be scared, I found them. They're right here. Yay. Oh my god. Okay, place it. That's a sign that I should stop and go to sleep. We don't have time for that today, unfortunately. Okay. It's really pissing off my gay little hands. Okay. Yay. Okay. Girl, you. How do I need to put it on like this for it to come back like that? Oh my god. This is gonna drive me absolutely insane. There we go. Good lord.